All right, Ivy, this one's for you. You're going to need a theraband and a chair, so something that you can sit on comfortably with your feet at 90 degrees at the knee and the ankle joint, and you want your feet right underneath you. So once you've found somewhere comfortable to sit, just take a moment to settle in. So let's go ahead and get started. For now, you're just going to place your theraband across your knees so you have it nearby. And all we're going to start by doing is breathing in as you raise your arms up and over your head, and then exhaling to lower them down. As you're breathing in, lifting up the arms, I want you to think about breathing in between that space between the sitting bones. And then as you exhale, think about gently drawing that space together, so the sitting bones together. Inhaling into that space, exhaling, gently drawing the sitting bones together. And if you're a little bit confused as to where the sitting bones are, there's those bony bits at the bottom of the pelvis that you can kind of feel that you're sitting on top of. You can lean forward and lean back to get kind of a clearer idea of where they are underneath you. And then we're going to start to take that breath a bit farther up. So breathing into the space between the sitting bones and then into the space between the hips. Exhaling, thinking about drawing the space between the hips together, sitting bones together. And again, inhaling, breathing in between the sitting bones, in between the hips. Exhaling to just gently draw the space between the hips and the sitting bones together, drawing up into the ribs this time. So sitting bones, hips, and then lower ribs. You're breathing into that space. Exhaling to draw the lower ribs together, hips together, and the sitting bones. 2 more to go. Sitting bones, hips, and lower ribs. Exhaling, drawing them back together. Ribs, hips, and then sitting bones. And again. Last time like that. Excellent. And then you're just going to start to bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Nice big deep inhalation. Exhaling to drop them down. Do that a couple more times. And then let's just do some circles around of the shoulders while you're here. One direction, and then switch it up and go back around the other way. Excellent. Give the arms and the shoulders a little shake. And then we're going to take the theraband now, and you're going to place it right underneath your feet. So you want it to be pretty equidistant, so you have the same amount of band on each side. And then all we're going to start to do is really sit on top of those sitting bones, bring the elbows in close by your sides, turn your palms face up, and we're going to do some bicep curls here. So you're curling in with an inhale and then exhaling. So what I want you to be really aware of as you're moving your arms is that your ribs aren't coming away from the back of the body. So they're not jutting forward as you're doing this. You're not holding any tension through the neck, not too much tension through the shoulders. Really, it's just your arms working into this bicep curl. So breathing in and exhaling. Last time. Excellent. This time you're going to hold your arms out to the sides. See if you can really drop your arms down so they get really long and heavy towards the floor. You're going to start to pull the band back towards the wall behind you and then release. So inhaling and then exhaling. Again, make sure this isn't bringing any tension through the neck. Think about drawing those lower tips of the shoulder blades together behind you without jutting those ribs out in front. 3 more to go. Breathing in. Exhaling. 2 more. Last time. Excellent. Okay. And then widen the armpits a little bit. Let the elbows just have a little micro bend in them. We're going to start to pull the band up towards the ceiling and then release. So the difference between this movement and lifting the shoulders up is quite pronounced. So make sure that you're not lifting your whole entire arm, including your shoulder up. You're leaving the shoulders where they are and letting the arm again do the work. 3 more to go. Last 2. Last 1. And then just give the shoulders a little shake out here. Excellent. Now we're going to cross the band over. And you're going to have the left band out in front. So the right band is crossing behind. You're just going to hold your right hand, right hand onto the knee with the band underneath it. So now we're going to take the band into the left hand. You're going to take your elbow and reach it up to where the corner of the ceiling and the wall meet, and then release. So notice I'm not kind of doing something like going down. You're heading up in a diagonal line with that elbow. Nice big deep breath in and exhaling. Again, just letting go of any tension through the neck. Not gripping or holding on with the other shoulder or the other arm. Last time like that, and then we're going to add in a little bit of rotation. So you're inhaling and then turning, following that arm around, and then exhaling to release. Inhaling and exhaling. 3 more to go. Last 2. Last 1. And then release the bands from their interlace because you're going to cross them over. So now your left band is going to be underneath, right band on top. Left hand is just trapping the band underneath there. Check into your sitting bones, check into your ribs, make sure your head is just placed over the top of your rib cage and your sitting bones. And then we're going to start the same on this side. So right elbow really lifting up and out at a diagonal. Breathing in and then exhaling. And again. Nice big deep breaths into the armpit. Last time, and then let's add in our rotation. So you're breathing in, following the elbow and the arm around, exhaling to come back to where you started. And again. 3 more to go. Last 2. Last 1. Excellent. And then release the band from underneath the feet. You're going to pick it up now and just bring it a little bit wider than your shoulders. Nice, long, straight arms here. You're trapping the band between your thumb and your first finger and then bringing your arms up and over the head. Nice big deep breath in here. Exhale to release back down. So as your arms are coming up and over your head, I want to make sure that your ribs aren't coming with you. See if you can keep those lower ribs and your head in place as your arms are coming up and over. Nice big deep breath in. And exhaling. We're going to stay up this time. Make sure you're just slightly in front of your face so that when you bend your elbows, you're not going to cut off your nose. And then straighten. Deep breath in. Exhaling. 3 more times. Last 2. Last 1. Staying up this time, you're going to see if you can now take the arms all the way back behind you. Hopefully you don't run into your chair. And then come back up and over. I'm going to do twice more just like that, adjusting. If you need to create a little bit more space, you're welcome to take your hands a bit wider. Otherwise, if you want to make it a bit more challenging, come in on your band, and that will just give you a little bit more resistance as you're coming back up and over. I want you to watch your arms to make sure they're not bending. You can have a little look at your wrists to make sure that they're not bending either as you come up and over the head. One more to go here. Great. And then release the band. Just place that over to the side. Give the arms a nice little shake here. Excellent. All right. Hands are going to come onto the knees now, and we're going to think back to our sitting bones and how they're right underneath us at the moment. Next, we're going to begin to think about the sitting bones drawing together as our tailbone starts to curl in towards the pubic bone, and the pubic bone starts to curl in towards the chest. Take a nice big deep breath in here, and then exhale to do the opposite. So now your tailbone is tilting away from your pubic bone. Your chest is lifting up and out of your seat. So you're really lifting and feeling that heart space also rise, and then tuck it back underneath. So tailbone to pubic bone to chest. Lift the chest, let the pubic bone start to tilt back towards the tailbone as your gaze lifts. And again. Make sure you're not lifting your ribs too far up as you come up. We really want to leave those ribs behind and then bring them back. You can do that one more time. Excellent. And then come right back up to sitting on top of your sitting bones. So we're going to combine those movements, the arms and the little curl of the spine with this next move. So take your hands, clasp them together, start to turn them around and bring them up over the head. So nice big deep breath in as you lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale to release that down. Inhaling to slide and glide up. Exhaling to release that down. 2 more to go. Last one. And then we're going to take the arms forward, start to bring your tailbone towards your pubic bone, and really reach the hands out in front of you away. Really bringing and sliding those shoulder blades up towards the ears. And then as you slide them down, start to lift the chest and lift, rise your heart space up towards the ceiling. Let's do that again. Tucking your tailbone towards your pubic bone, towards your chest. Arms come out in front of you. And then as you're breathing in, you're lifting up the heart space towards the hands, towards the ceiling. Last time like that. And then release the hands all the way down by the sides. Give the shoulders another little shake. We're going to do a little side bend here. So you're just going to allow your right hand to drop down towards the floor. Feel how your shoulders are sliding over to this one side and then come back up to the center. You can imagine that you have a heavy weight into your hand that's making that arm just drag down to the floor. And then if you were to release that weight, you'd come back up to the center. So you can just have that little image in your mind, releasing the weight to come back up and then over to the other side. Trying to keep your head in the center of your body, rib cage nice and centered, not doing any twisting here. And release it last time to either side. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to do a little circling around of the pelvis. So you're going to think about stirring around your pelvis. Hands can just rest onto the knees. So we're doing a little circling around on top of your chair. Notice how my feet are staying in the same place. My knees aren't really going anywhere. Just doing a little circle around the top of my sitting bones. Circle around the other way now. Just getting a little bit of stirring going on here. And then you're going to take your feet a little bit wider. So I'm going to be about maybe like a foot's distance away from your chair legs, if your chair is similar to mine. We're going to do the same thing. So you're circling around, coming forward, and then going back. So now we're getting really deep into the thigh bone, sinking into the pelvis as you come forward, and then sliding away as you go back. Should feel really nice and like you're lubricating up the hip joints. Go back around the other way. Breathing as you're moving. Planting those feet down so they're not going anywhere. And then we're going to stay over to this left side. You're going to really extend that leg out. Send it back behind you. So that your left foot is pointing forward, your right leg, your right foot is back behind you with your toes nice and planted into the floor. So you're just going to start to pump through that heel. So you're coming forward and then going back. You should be supported with your left thigh onto the chair so it doesn't feel like you're doing a whole lot of work through this front foot or leg. Just doing this nice little pumping action to get that blood flowing from the ankle so it doesn't pool down in the foot. And it should be also a nice little stretch for your calf muscle. Okay, and you're going to start to send your heel back, bend your knee, and kind of just allow yourself to lean back a little bit. So now we're getting more of a stretch through the front of the hip there, and then straighten. So think about lifting your chest up away from that knee. Make sure your shoulders are pointing forward towards your front left foot. And then straighten. 2 more times like that. Last time. Good. And then just give that knee a little bend. We're going to start to now take your right hand onto your left knee and have a little rotation away from that front left foot. Take a couple of breaths here. And then come back to the center, rotating all the way back around. Replace that foot back to where it was. Make sure that you're just getting yourself comfy back into the center. We're going to do a few circles around before doing the other side. Going in both directions. Nice big deep breaths. And then rotate around to the right side. So right foot is pointing forward, left foot is coming back. I am completely supported by my chair here, so I'm not having to do too much work through that front leg. So I can start my nice little heel pumps here. I'm sending my heel forward and I'm sending it back. Not really bending through the knee too much of the back leg as I do this. Just again getting some of that blood circulating from the foot back up through the leg, back up through to the heart. So we can really get this nice circulation of blood going after maybe being seated for a long time. Good. And then you're going to start to send that heel back, bend the knee, and lift the chest up away from that knee. So it should feel like a nice stretch for the whole front of this side. And then start to straighten that leg, send the heel back a little bit more, and then bend the knee, lift the chest. Make sure this isn't coming into the lower back at all. If it feels like it is, start to send your tailbone a little bit down more towards your chair. and feel like you're really leaving these lower ribs behind so that you can lift up more through the chest. Let's do that one more time. Bending through the knee, lifting up through the heart, and then coming back to center. Now we're going to take the left arm, begin to bring it around to the right knee so you can have a little bit of rotation here, taking a few breaths. Good, and then come back to center with both of the feet back to the original position so that you can just do your last few circles around the pelvis here. Back around in the other direction. Excellent. Okay, we're going to bring the legs back into the center. Again, we're going to start to lift the arms up and over the head. This time as you exhale, you're going to straighten the arms, lift your chest, and start to hinge down towards the legs. Just to where it feels comfortable for you, so you're getting a nice stretch through the backs of the legs, and then come back up, bending the knees and circling the arms around. So up and over the head with the arms, slide the legs forward, have a little hinge through the hips. And then circle the arms back down and around as your legs come in. All right, up and over the head with the arms, straighten out the legs, come forward with that hinge. This time we're going to draw the pubic bone towards the chest, and you're going to send the arms back and around, up and over the head as your knees draw in. 2 more times like that, straightening out the legs, hinging forward. Tailbone to pubic bone to chest as your arms come around. Last time, up, straightening out the legs, hinging forward, tucking the tailbone to pubic bone to chest, and then lifting up. Really nice. Okay, so from here, we're going to come off of the chair. You might want your mat for this one if you have any sensitivity through your knees. I'm going to bring the chair out in front of you. Excellent. Center yourself over your chair. Now you're going to send your knees into the floor. Really make sure you've got this lovely openness through the hips. Ribs are centered right over your pelvis. Head is centered over everything else. Lift up through the crown of the head. And then you're going to start to just allow your chin to fall towards your chest. Begin to send your hands forward so you're really supported by this chair as you begin to straighten out your spine in this position. So your elbows, your hands, and even if you want to rest your forehead down here, they're all supported by the chair out in front of you. So from here, we're just going to draw the tailbone to the pubic bone to the chest, and then do the opposite. So you're sending the tailbone away from the pubic bone, away from the chest. So notice the rest of my spine isn't moving. My head's just resting nice and gently between the arms. No tension going on through the neck or the head. If this is too much for the shoulders, feel free to bend your elbows at any point as you're just allowing the pelvis to move here. Nice big deep breath in as you bring that tailbone towards the pubic bone towards chest. Exhaling to send it away. Last time. And then if your hands aren't already there, you're going to just bring them back towards the front of the chair a little bit, and we're going to start to hinge back through the hips towards your heels, and then hinging forward. So now we're really letting those sitting bones widen as we go back, and then drawing them together. See if you can keep your pelvis in that little untuck, so your tailbone is being slightly sent away from you. It's not tucking back in at any point of this movement. Do that twice more. Last time. And then take your knees a little bit wider, take your toes to cross over one another and begin to sit back. You can pull your chair in here. If it feels good for you, you can just rest your forehead onto your chair and your arms onto the chair as well. So get comfy here. If at all possible, just really thinking about your sitting bones getting heavy towards your heels. I'm just going to have a nice little rock from side to side. Taking a couple of breaths. And then you're going to slowly unwind back up to your starting position. Take your chair a little bit farther away from you now. And we're going to turn towards the front with your hand onto the chair. So in this position, we're going to start to straighten out let's go for the right leg. So if you're facing forward, your right leg should be out and away from the chair. You're going to just have a little lean over so you can support your elbow onto the chair. That way you're not feeling like you're having to lean too much onto that leg with your weight. You have the chair for support too. Let's take the right hand and we'll place it back behind the back of the head so you feel like you can just give yourself a little support with that top arm underneath the head. And then just come and find a place where you can really feel like you're taking the weight off of that top leg. So we're going to start to lift the leg up and then lower it back down. Just a little lift. Doesn't have to be too high here. Notice that I'm not touching my foot back down onto the floor. We're keeping it lifted as we're doing this little lift and lower. Make sure you're not rotating anywhere through the body as this happens. Take a little rest down. Now we're going to point through the toe, rotate the leg up towards the knee. Make sure your hips aren't going with you. You can see mine wanted to do that. So we're rotating the knee up towards the ceiling and then lifting and lowering. We'll do 3 more. Last 2. Last 1, touch the toe down, rotate the leg so that now your heel is coming up towards the ceiling, knee pointing down, and we'll do 4 lifts and lowers like that. 2 and 1. Good. Let that arm rest down, let your knee come back in, have a little shake out through the center of the body. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So now your left leg is going to be out. You're leaning over so that you've got support through your right arm, left hand back behind the back of the head, and we're lifting and lowering through that top leg. So again, it doesn't have to be huge. I want to see that you're not going all over the place with the pelvis. You're not kind of moving forward or back or moving through the torso. Watch out for those things for yourself. We're looking for stability through here. Nice and stable. And then touch down. I'm going to point through the toe and turn your knee, so not the whole of your front of your pelvis, just your knee and that top thigh up towards the ceiling, and then lift and lower. 3 and 2 and 1, and then touch the toe down. Rotate the leg down towards the floor, again, not the hips, just the knee, and we're lifting and lowering for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Excellent. Come back in with that knee. Give the body a little shake out here. So now you're going to come back towards the chair. Have a little sit back onto your heels. Hopefully this is comfortable. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can place a cushion there underneath your heels and your bum just to give you that little bit of a lift to not place so much strain onto the knees. You're going to have the chair behind you so that you can place your elbows back onto the chair. Again, just getting support from that chair behind you. You need to readjust yourself a little bit here. You want to make sure that you're not kind of having too much of your back like into the chair. I'm going to actually think about just having a little bit of a nice lengthened spine here. And then from here, you're just going to have a little tuck of the pelvis, pubic bone, tailbone to pubic bone to chest, and then untucking the tailbone and seeing if you can have a little lift of the pelvis away from your heels. and then coming back down. So this is a little tuck under, tailbone to pubic bone to the chest, and then the tuck the other way so that you're lifting up your pelvis away from your heels. And again, coming back down. A little tuck the other way, and then untuck up. And let's stay here for a moment and just really allow those collarbones to open. Notice what feels best for your neck here. Don't let it hang back behind you too heavily with the head, so it feels like you're straining your neck. Keep your head in a good position, maybe slightly out in front of you. That feels good for that to hang out for a moment. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale and lower all the way down. Coming off of the chair, just walking the hands out in front of you a little bit. And you're just going to slowly just come into that rocking forward, rocking back motion. This time the hands down onto the floor so that you're getting a little bit of a nice stretch through the wrists and the hands. Just doing that a few times. Good. And then you're going to come back to the center. We're going to take that right leg, just let it come over the left leg, and have a little stretch over to that left side. Just to get a stretch out for the hips. Make sure it feels good, that you're not stretching too far. Really being aware of the range of your joints in this position, so we're not overstretching any ligaments or joints here. Come back to the center, take your left leg over the right, straighten it out, and have a little stretch over onto this side. Couple of deep breaths in here. Coming back to the center, pressing yourself up, just give those hands and shoulders a little shake. And then we're going to get that chair out of the way so that you can come down to lying on your mat. If you want some cushions for underneath your head, nice time to just gather those so that you can rest comfortably here. With your knees slightly bent, whatever feels comfortable for you. Just going to start to let everything start to switch off and relax from the crown of the head all the way down through the face, back of the head, through the neck, just checking in, breathing, seeing if you can start to really release any tension that might have built up over the course of all the movement we've just done. Scanning down through the neck, through the shoulders, through the arms, through the hands, through the chest, releasing and relaxing, melting the muscles down towards the floor as you go, through the torso, through the lower back, the pelvis, down through the buttocks and the thighs, the knees, the lower legs and the feet. Just checking in and switching off. And then we're going to start to curl those toes in towards you, so you're really clenching them in tight as if you were going to grab something and pick it up with your toes and then release. So again, scrunching up the toes. This time you're going to bring the heels, so it feels like you're going to bend through the heels and bring your toes a little bit closer towards your calves, and then release. So we've got toes, we've got heels, and now really squeeze through those calves, and then release the calves, the heels, the toes. Again, we're squeezing toes, heels, calves. Now we're squeezing the thighs and releasing the thighs, the calves, the heels, the toes. Squeezing again, toes, heels, calves, thighs, now the buttocks, and then release, buttocks, thighs, calves, heels, toes. Working your way up, toes, heels, calves, thighs, buttocks, lower back and the abdomen, and then release the abdomen, buttocks, thighs, calves, heels, and toes. And again, toes, heels, calves, thighs, buttocks, abdomen, lower back, and all through the upper body into the arms and the hands, and then releasing upper body, abdomen, buttocks, thighs, calves, heels, and toes. One last time through the toes, the heels, the calves, thighs, buttocks, abdomen, upper body, hands, and then through the very crown of the head, eyeballs and all. Releasing, exhaling, letting everything go, and just taking a final moment of relaxation. And slowly start to press yourself up into a seated position that feels really comfortable for you. Just to allow the eyes to close. Just take a moment to really connect into how you feel right now. Take a few grounding breaths in through the nose, out through the open mouth. And then opening the eyes and seeing if you can really carry that sense of grounded relaxation with you throughout the rest of the day. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.